Hey and good morning. This is Brian from Basic Music Editing. This is episode 3 on equalization. You cannot define equalization without first defining frequencies. Now, if you look here, I'm going to bring up a 10-band equalizer. So this is a 10-band equalizer. Now, as you can see, there are numbers at the bottom of all these little clips here. What those numbers represent are the hertz, or the frequency at which those switches control. Now, this may sound way over your head, but if you're going to be a music editor, this is your #1 music editing tool. 60 hertz, where my clicker is right now, my cursor, is a low frequency. Now, a low frequency is basically just a lower note. So the lower the number of hertz you've got, the lower the note is going to be. So you could define these first 3 as bass because they're lower frequencies, lower notes, deeper. The second 3 here, or maybe the 4 in the middle, are your middle frequencies. These are what bring out most of the melody in the music. Those 4 clips. And I'm going to show you what all these do in a minute, how they sound different when you apply them to a piece of music. The last 3 are treble, or high notes. These are your highest frequencies, and those are typically your and your really high guitar solos. These are the frequencies in which those notes will be played. So I'm going to play a piece of music, and I'm going to let you hear what it sounds like at different frequencies. Alright, so I've got some guitar playing, and this is without any frequency changes. Now I'm going to start with the bass. If you hear the difference, it sounds a little messy. That's because when you pull things up way too far, the decibels, it begins to distort, and it sounds weird. Alright, so right now we're bassy. I'm going to turn that back down to 0. And that's how it would sound regularly. Now I'm going to turn the bass all the way down. And you see kind of the body of the music kind of fell out from under it. Now I'm going to touch the middle frequencies here, show you what it sounds like. Okay, this is regular music. And now if you can hear that, I took the middle of the music out, the middle frequencies, and what it did is it made it sound, in my definition, more modern, more metal. If you bring that same frequency up, it sounds more vintage, or classic rock type instead of modern heavy metal. So I mean, that's my definition, or my best way to explain it. Heavy metal, classic rock. That's the way I define it. So now let's go to the treble frequencies here. I'm going to turn those down. And you see, you can't really hear any of those high notes like you can with it up. Here it sounds sharper. To me, that's the word that defines this, sharp. If you hear a lot of sharpness in your music and you want to dull it down, if you've got some classical music going, I mean, this would probably sound better. So that's basic frequencies and what they do and sort of what they are. If you have any questions about frequencies and what differs between one frequency and another, I will try to answer those. I have just learned that myself. When you're talking about frequencies, every time you double a frequency, you're upping an octave. So 20 hertz to 40 hertz, that's an octave, because you double the frequency. From 40 hertz to 80 hertz is another octave, And an octave is if you take a note and you start at this note and you bring it all the way up, that's one octave, that's one octave. So you can kind of hear how those two notes are the same, just at different points. It's easiest to learn on a piano what an octave is. But that's not what this episode is about. This is about frequencies and equalization. I took a year of piano lessons. That's why I know what an octave is. So frequencies become a lot harder when you begin recording your own music and when you don't mix with regular loops that you can find on your computer. With the pre-mixed loops, everything is made easier with these pre-mixed loops. In a couple of episodes, I'll show you how I do my recording, which is a lot more advanced and it's way more involved. I'll have to bring in another music editing program, and I will definitely show you what that program is when we get there.